So we talked about this on today's Good Morning Walk, but I still think it's worth showing off and talking about this because, to be honest, um, as I said this morning, this video needs to be put on blast. I think 24/7, pretty much from now until certainly until and during the next general election, um, for the pure statement of fact that this just goes to show exactly who and what the Tories really are. That they really don't care about the promises that they made. I mean, it's kind of weird because I made the video just before this one saying, have the Tories given up on levelling up? And the short answer is yes, they absolutely have. Even though their own levelling up paper identified some very obvious problems which they are responsible for, and how they could sort of start addressing some of these problems, which was all the more surprising, if you may remember when we went over that when it first got announced. This video just goes to show you, Sunak never cared one bit about levelling up, which, go back to the start of his campaign in his first big campaign launch video, he says, oh yeah, levelling up at the heart of this Conservative government, and it will be at the heart of my Conservative government as well. And considering what he's just said here, and again, like I say, I'm from the north. I am from one of these, areas that is very, very much sort of deprived. Luckily, we managed to hold on to our, Labour MP. But even my Labour MP, Dan Jarvis, has been sort of sharing this around. And I think for him and any other sort of Labour MP who's still left up here in the north should basically play this on blast every single week, just putting it out there. Oh, yeah, by the way, weekly reminder, this is why the town has no funding, because, Rishi Sunak is diverting all that money that should be going to these deprived areas and bringing them to the rich ones, like he says, like with Tunbridge Wells, and you'll hear how he says it in a moment, but he's bizarrely proud of the work that he has done. And I think that should also be noted as well, that he is bizarrely proud of this. And I think that's again shows the underlying cause that these people, these Conservatives, don't give a goddamn about these places. They really don't. To them, just as we said last video, leveling up was just a convenient slogan. Didn't matter. They would maybe even give maybe a token amount to these northern towns and cities that were again left behind, and maybe help them just a slight bit. But even then, the leveling up fund is so bad. So little money has actually gone to it. It's barely worth actually having it. And even then, because of how the rules have been set up, not only are all these disadvantaged towns having to compete against one another, but you've got those more wealthy areas who get, because they are now up and higher on the list, now get not only access to HMR Treasury to help them write those grants, but also get to have two shots at these grants. Whereas one of these, as one of these disadvantaged towns does it, if they put forward a grant application, they're not allowed to put forward that same grant application. They have to rewrite the whole thing from scratch again. They can't even copy and paste some of the parts and call it a new name. They have to write a whole new thing, and that's a lot of work. But yeah, anyway, we'll get into the video because I'm sure some of you may or may not have seen it. But again, certainly worth playing. Oh, hang on.
To make sure that from all of you, I managed to start changing the funding for. make sure that areas like this are getting the funding that they deserve. Because we inherited a bunch of formulas from the Labour Party that shoved all the funding into deprived urban areas. And that needed to be undone. I started the work of undoing that. I made sure as Chancellor across government, not only do we increase local government funding.
I love that, because that once again is straight up not true. Like there's a couple of statements there that are just so bizarrely false. One of them, first of all, blaming these funding formulas on Labour. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure some of those were actually from the EU, left over from the EU development grants. And I'm surprised he didn't take an opportunity to have a pop at the EU on this. So that was quite surprising. Again, being really proud that he's sort of taking money from all these deprived urban areas and bringing it to Tunbridge Wells. Well, why does Tunbridge Wells deserve all this extra money? What exactly are they going to spend it on? What are you going to do then with those deprived urban areas? Are you just going to leave them deprived urban areas? And the end part as well, saying about, oh, we've increased council funding. Not for my council, you haven't, Sunak. You've actively taken away funding from my council to a shocking extent. In fact, my council has had its budget slashed by, I think it's comes to like 50-60%. Same for other very Labour dominated councils and Labour controlled councils. You've done that to them as well. So this is the full confirmation of what we have been, and done several videos about on in the past, that Sunak and the entire Conservative government have been absorbed in pork barrel politics. And because they have been actively involved in this, they've been giving money to the people who support them, and then nothing to these other areas. They are not ruling for all the country. And he said the quiet part out loud, and I'm really glad. Like I say, this all came from like the New Statesman. I am really glad they got this, but this is an absolute. This should play from now right through to the next general election, reminding people in any area, especially in the north, like this practically destroys any Conservative candidate who's running in the red wall seats, because that's what they're going to go back to. Just on this video alone, if I were in Labour HQ, I'd be putting this video onto social media and I'd be putting it on blast, paying it to go and be shown every single day from now until, like I say, the next general election. Oh, why does your area have less money? Let Rishi Sunak tell you why. And is this going to change under Liz Truss? No, absolutely not. It's not going to change at all. It doesn't matter that she puts Theresa Coffey or John Redwood, who are, again, the two suspects to be put forward to it. It just goes to show you, Sunak has shown the true colours here of the Conservative Party. But if you've been following this channel for any length of time, I've been telling you about how they've been engaged in pork barrel politics and what they've been up to by depriving these areas. And now it's nice to actually see Sunak confirm it himself, because a lot of the Conservative commentators are saying, no, that's not happening. No, that's not happening at all. Well, I present to you not only all the evidence that we have, but I present to you this video by Rishi Sunak admitting it in public. So, as always, thank you very much for for watching today. Like I say, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page. You can also join the YouTube subscription plan, the Pony Club, and of course, the YouTube thank you button down there as well. But there's also the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel those ways. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.